What is up, everyone? JD here. Got one that was recommended in a live stream that I do on Thursdays. If you guys don't check that out, definitely come along and say hi. But shout out and thanks to those that recommended I check this one out. Let's jump into it. All right, guys, today we have a brand new offering. This is the Chaves Blue Label, and the reason they call it the Blue Label is much more affordable than their premium end, generally M390, all titanium for your handles, and it's a titanium frame lock with titanium standoffs, and instead they downgraded, if that's what you want to call it, to LMAX, which is still, in my opinion, a super steel. You're getting micarta on top of steel liners, and you're getting all steel hardware with a G10 backspacer. Again, instead of having all titanium, downgrading basically everything on the handle here. You get your typical finish that you do with your Chaves. You get a nice subtle drop point, tall flat grind with a swedge, very large aggressive jimping here on the back of the knife. You get a liner lock instead of a frame lock, and then they still offer the option for the unmarked or the sterile pocket clip, or you can get the skull clip, which I did flip over to on this particular one. Ergonomically, this is pretty comfortable. I actually thought it was going to be a little bit sharp like it is on the premium end, but they actually did a good job chamfering down the steel. Take note, these are proud liners, meaning that they're going to stand out, and that is intentional. So you do feel them there, but I do feel like they did a good enough job on chamfering these and knocking it all down to make it feel comfortable in hand, but you are going to notice those in hand. I took the knife down to the garage to get a little bit of cutting on camera, and it seems like the LMAX is done well. It had a nice factory edge, and then when I moved over to the cardboard, it cut through the cardboard nicely. It actually tore through that cardboard really well, very easily with minimal fuss. So I did appreciate that. Not going to be one that's going to be ideal for pinch grip work, detailed work. It's a very pokey type of blade. It's a very subtle drop point, so it is a very awkward position for you if you are trying to do some detail work. Now, if you need to do so in a pinch, it'll be just fine, no issues whatsoever. I didn't notice the pocket clip. Again, I didn't notice anything sharp, super sharp, or uncomfortable. I feel like they did a good job with the proud liners on this particular one. One thing that I do want to take note of, once you remove the pocket clip and these screws that are on the actual scale, you do not need to remove the pivot to take the scales off. One thing that they're doing with the blue line is they're offering other versions of micarta. They have different G10 scales that you can grab, and they're even offering brass, copper, and titanium, last I checked, that you can just drop straight on here and fasten down onto the chassis. So I thought that was really interesting. I would have liked to see micarta here on the backspacer because it looks like all the screws are going into the steel liners. I think it would have been a nice touch to have the micarta backspacer matching that, but that's a minor nitpick on my end. I did go ahead and swap out to skiffs, but the stamp bearings that came with this one were really nice. The action on it was really good. The detent is dialed very well, and it is very easy to disengage. It does seem like it has a ramp. I did the silent disassembly, but I can't really remember. The reason I say I think it has a ramp is because when you get to here, it kind of seems like that's where the detent ball is actually coming over, but it's not like a abrupt disengagement. It feels a little subtle. So I think that they did a little ramp on the blade there. One thing to take note of, and I still need to go back and try to adjust it, you will want to remove your liners in your pocket clip to get the centering up. If you can see here, it is favoring on mine, the show side, ever so slightly. So I need to take the scales off and try to get back over to that side. I don't think, yeah, it hasn't backed out on me as far as the pivot's concerned. And I don't even know which side. I think it's this one. Let me see. I'm just going to take a bit and check it. Oh, it did move a little bit on me. Okay. So now we're centered. So it did back out a little bit on me. So that lets me know that I probably need to throw some thread locker on there. in order for it to remain centered. Actually, it's still favoring the show side a little bit there. Let me see. Because when I feel like when I initially tightened it, it was too tight. It's actually kind of playing with me a little bit. So not 100% sure. I think it's favoring the show side ever so slightly. At least that's how it looks to me when I hit the lighting. But when I come over top, it's not as noticeable as it is at this angle here. So I'm not 100% sure. It may be slightly off. I'm pushing that to see if the standoffs are still settling on this one. Yeah, I think it's too tight in the pivot. I think I tightened it too much, and I don't want it over tightened. I want it to break in naturally. I'm not trying to force the track from the skiffs because I did that first day. I just want to make sure that the track from the skiffs break in on the hardened steel liners naturally. Maybe that fixed it. Let me see. Yeah, I think we're centered. Anyway, the thumb studs on this one, really well done. Access to the lock bar is really good on here. Jimping, again, big aggressive jimping. Chaves is, in my opinion, a kind of in-your-face knife with the big skull, the little skull, the larger thumb studs that do work very well. And again, just the, custom feel that they're able to deliver on a production knife. Now, I don't know who the OE is on this. I believe that Chaves uses Rayot. I don't know if Rayot has a budget line or if they're using a different company for this one, but I must say, I think the build quality on it is really good, and the pocket clip, regardless of which version you're using, works really well, and they did a good job with the stonewash on the steel here to give it that titanium look. Would have been cool at this price point if they could have done a titanium pocket clip, but I'm honestly not going to be that bent out of shape over the pocket clip itself. Let's do some size comparisons, and then we'll weigh this knife. All right, I did bring out my Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight for the full size comparison, and then for the smaller EDC, I do have my Vosteed Hedgehog out here. I think Vosteed's another interesting company because they do use LMAX with their knives, but they do it with their premium builds, so you're generally getting titanium, not the micarta and such. This one with the S35 yen, you're getting the micarta top liner lock and nested steel liner on this particular version, but they're able to be very competitive against the Chaves, I think, on that price point. So I think with the LMAX, it could be that you give that a little bit of an advantage with the LMAX versus the S35 yen, but I think they're very comparable in my opinion. All right, a couple more budget knives with micarta just to keep the theme going here. I thought it would be a little bit more interesting that way, but you got the small Kaiser Nice Guy here, and then you got the QSB Vault, which I think is on par for size with the Blue Line Redencion. I don't even know if I said the name. Did I say the name earlier? The Chaves Blue Line Redencion? Hopefully I did. Anyway, let me grab the scale and check the weight on this one. All right, got the scale out here. Let's cut her on and get her to where you can see this. I think this is probably going to be like 4+ ounces on this particular one. It feels heavy, guys. Yeah, 4.8, so nearly 5 ounces, full steel liners, again, a big old steel pocket clip, and a big steel blade, even though it does have good cutting geometry. It is still a tall blade on this particular knife, so I am not surprised by that weight at all. Let's move the scale out of the way, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up with final thoughts and impressions. All right, guys, time for final thoughts and impressions on this one. The silent disassembly will go up after this one, but I did point out this is a 3/16 sized pivot, which is common for USA made blades, but I guess they just wanted it to be metrically the same, or measurements the same as the custom, so that is something to take note of. But I think it's 3/16, 3/64. I think it's like the other size of the measurement is pretty in line with that. So we are locked up solid, and I mean, it's super close to being centered. I think it ever so slightly favors this side. Again, really easy to remove the scale material here to get to the underpinning of the screws to center this up, so it would be super easy to do. I grade on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and budget knives normally cap at 7. However, with this having LMAX on there, it would be able to exceed the 7 marker because of that. But I think with the micarta full steel hardware, steel pocket clip, not titanium, G10 backspacer, that's going to be really hard to do. Having said all of that, I really do like the ergos. I think they did a good job chamfering down because it is a 3 3/4 grip. I hang off the back. Once I actually close down, you can see I'm hanging off the back a little bit. So this to me is more like a medium-sized EDC. I love the thumb studs. The action on it is really good. The access to the lock bar is really good. I feel like they adjusted the detent though. No, that's about the normal where it hits the ramp. That's about normal for Chaves. Reverse flick is good. Jimping on the back of the knife is good. The LMAX seems to be doing well so far. Nice tall flat grind. And I really just aesthetically like the Chaves. I like the skull in your face design and aesthetic or presence on this one here. So that does go a long way for me. I think I'm actually going to go 7.4 on this one. I am going to go slightly above on the budget because I think the LMAX plays a huge factor in that for me. I feel like the micarta and the steel doesn't pull it back enough for me to disgrade or downgrade the LMAX being on here as far as the steel is concerned. And then the build quality seems to be done really well. I think the centering is an issue for me, taking it apart and not getting the standoff back here done right when I put it back together. But I really like this one a lot. I think Chaves is really cool looking, whether you like the drop point or the Tonto, whether you like their more slender. I don't know the name of that one, but I think that one also is available now on their blue line. But I think it was cool because people liked them, couldn't afford the customs. They did a custom premium production, way more affordable than the customs, and people were still love the knife, can't afford it. Now you got one under $200, whereas the premium production is over $300. So I feel like they're doing things here to try to push it down to make it available to the masses, and then they're still offering the ability to customize it by making scales and offering them on the website. So I think all of that is a plus. I think it's a really cool way to kind of do it and customize and make it personalized with the scale options and things that they're doing on the steel liner version. So I'm happy that this was recommended for me to check out. I'm going to hang on to it for a little while. To me, it's kind of like the Volt. Like, I really like that. It is a knife that I'm not going to be too worried about beating on or abusing on, and I think it's going to look good in the process. But let me know what you guys think about the Chaves blue line, this one being the Redencion. I would love to hear your comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, definitely hit that like on your way out. If you're going to be doing any shopping, when you use my affiliate links that are down in the description, it helps the channel tremendously. Thanks to you guys that use it. It does help with the support. Special shout out and thanks to my channel members. You guys also, with that continued channel membership, support this channel, so thank you. I'm out of here. I hope you have a great week. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.